Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are in the Johnson edition. We turn out to poem 671, She Dwelleth in the Ground, another nature riddle poem. We're quite familiar with these. Some have pointed out that this poem was sent to cousin Fanny Norcross, and it included a crocus, and therefore the she of this poem is a crocus. Others have commented that no, I think she's referencing a buried woman in this one. Our assumption is that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net down that left-hand side, chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you worked through a set of introductory comments in the preceding 670 poems. We just finished with 670, One Need Not Be a Chamber. And if you have done that, you will be reminded of the number of times that Emily plays this game of the riddle. That is to say, I don't want you to know exactly what I'm talking about, but I want you to at least get a picture of it. Now, this is in some ways going to be a poem that we could call a friendship poem. Is it about a single person that she cared for? Is it a death poem? I'm going to leave it to you to decide. She dwelleth in the ground where daffodils abide. Her maker, her metropolis, the universe are made, to fetch her grace and hue and fairness and renown, the firmaments to pluck her and fetch her thee. Be mine. Now, the use of all the dashes make this poem somewhat problematic to know exactly how to read and where to break it. Notice, if you are thinking of this as a flower, a crocus, for example, it is true that it dwells in the ground where the daffodils abide, right? But it's also true that a buried woman dwells in the ground where the daffodils abide. Daffodils will take us back to poem 60, by the way. Her maker, her metropolis, the universe, her maid. In other words, this is a woman who is being taken care of. Now, this is a brilliant nature poem if she's talking about the crocus, who lies under the ground, waiting to grow in the spring and early summer, of course, up to fruition, to fetch her grace. In other words, it takes time for the flower to find its way to the surface. And hue and fairness and renown, people look at the crocus, the firmaments to pluck her, that is to say, for Emily, the picking of the flower to give to her cousin Fanny Norcross, for example, and fetch her thee, and then she says with a dash, be mine, again with the dash. Now again, if you read this as a flower, the crocus, then of course she is saying, I plucked this for you, it was laying in the ground next to the daffodils, I plucked it for you, now I'm giving it to you so that you can be mine as this crocus was once mine. I think at 2a the message here is that nature is mysterious, and of course the analog of nature and death. At 2b, who or what is specifically being referenced here, we just don't know. But I want you at 3a to remember 657, I dwell in possibility. Go back and study that poem and the use of the word dwell here as well. Finally, at 3b, when was a time that you got a special gift from a pal and it meant something too for you? Thank you.